This is my best Wes impression. Wes, you got me doing this, man. Let a few people get in here. I'll bring Wes on in just a couple minutes. We are live. Live. We live, baby. We live, baby. What's up, G Town? G Town. I like it. Whippy. What is this? That aluminum gimbal butt. Nylon seat, long, even foam foregrip. Check out that X-Wrap handle. It's nice and it's skinny. I like it. I like it skinny. Just got a good beam to it. I like that. I like it a lot. All right. What's up, Michael Ward? You can call me Flash, dude. I mean, you do every day anyways. Oh, what's up, Flash? Oh, G-Town. Watching me from YouTube. Cool. I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, I'm from the house. Thinking about fishing a tournament this weekend. Kayak catfish tournament. I think it's on Watery. I have to work Saturday. And the tournament doesn't start till like 7 o'clock in the evening. You know, I think I'm about an hour from Watery. Really won't have time to really get a nap. You know, I get up at after work Saturday, so I have to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then getting off work, driving all the way down there. You know, fishing an all-night tournament. The weigh-in's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if I'm capable of that at 43 years old. I don't know. We'll see how I feel when I get off Saturday morning. Alrighty. Well, let's bring Wes on. It's a little different on the phone. Yeah, that'd be very rough, Thomas. I'll be falling asleep out there, man. I mean, I want to get in. I want to get in these tournaments, but they're killing us at work, man. 6 days a week. This is a night tournament, which is good. I love night tournaments. It's just working Saturdays, kicking my butt. We'll see. I don't know. I might get in it. See if I can send Wes an invite right quick. I tried to do it on here, but it really wasn't letting me. What's up, Peter? Yeah, it does so good. No. All right, hang on, hang tight, Wes. I'm gonna get you in here, brother. All right, Wes, I sent you an invite. But yeah, what kind do you have? Figured I would jump over to Facebook. I've not used my yak in 3 years. Yeah, Thomas, they bumper board, catch the fish, put it on the bumper board, put the indicator in the picture. They'll give you like an indicator that could be anything. And take the pic. I think it's 3 fish. And you go by length. So yeah, like pretty much 100% survivability when you do it that way. I guess that's one pro. Waiting on Wes. I'm sure he wants to tell us about his epic offshore trip. That is a trip that, I'll put it to you this way. Not really exactly sure how many years I offshore fished. At least 3 years. You know, going, I don't know, half a dozen to a dozen times a year. And I never had a trip that good. I mean, we had trips where we caught, 8 or 10, 12 mahi, but Wes just had a spectacular trip on his first time. I'm not going to say that's not his first time offshore, but that's I think it's the first time he's went offshore without like being on a charter or anything that far out. It's just that's spectacular. All right, good night, Flash. Butt crack of dawn, yeah. Yes, Thomas, pictures and release. It's really all you need, man. I mean, I wouldn't be against tournaments going to that. I mean, there is you can cheat, but I mean you can cheat in any tournament. If you're gonna cheat, you're gonna cheat. Look at the guy that was sponsored by B&M, the big professional crappie fisherman that was winning all those tournaments. He had like 1 million trophies. Finally got caught cheating. Would that not suck? I mean, could you imagine, Thomas, somebody like me or you getting caught cheating in a catfish tournament? Could you imagine? I mean, we would have to get another identity. I mean, we'd have to get our names changed, grow a beard. I mean, it would be bad, dude. It would be bad. We'd have to just delete all your social media. I mean, your reputation. I mean, your social media life would just be done, over. No respect, and rightfully so. It goes on though. It goes on. It goes on a lot in the bass world, and obviously the crappie world, and I'm sure it goes on in the catfish world too. Yes, it is sad, but it's us humans, we do some pretty dumb things, and I could never cheat, but I could see the allure. I could see how people could think about it and it get the best of them. You know, it's kind of like selling your soul. It's kind of like the crossroads demon or something. Let's see, legs you can use measure, but some like Santee that would not fly. Why wouldn't it fly? Is it because you get a lot of shorter fish that are a lot heavier than the like a shorter fish can be a lot heavier than a longer fish? Is that why it wouldn't fly? Yeah, I don't know, Thomas. I haven't put a lot of I haven't gathered a lot of information on that. I mean, I'm just assuming that 90% of the fish you catch, the longer ones are going to weigh more. Would you disagree with that? Would it be more prone to not be that way on like a tidal river or somewhere like Santee or like the James River? I mean, I think most times your longer fish are going to be heavier. Flathead to a blue. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have a good point. What does it matter? The contest is based on what the contest is based on. Length. Right, right. I understand that, Michael, but the tournaments have been ran for decades on weight. So it's kind of like it's become ingrained in our culture to want to go by weight, and we automatically are going to think it's not fair if someone with more length beats us in a tournament where we actually had more weight. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's by length, and there's really no room for debate or no room to argue. I mean, you can't be mad. You chose to get in the tournament. You knew it was going to be by length. So yeah, it's by length. I mean, I'm good with that. I think that I can see the catfish trails that where you're only keeping 2, maybe 3 fish, but the catfish trails where you're keeping 5 fish, and the mortality rates gotta increase the more fish you have in that live well. I mean, even if you have an 80 to 100 gallon live well, if you got 5 fish in that live well, they're not going to be doing that great. I mean, even these new live wells on these $80 to $100,000 storm cats, dynasties, these big catfish dedicated vessels, even them, you throw 5 30+ pound catfish in there, and yeah, they're not going to be doing real well if they're in there for 8 hours. Like the flatheads on Hartwell are super long, and flatheads down Santee are stocky. Depends on the waters. Yeah, I agree, Thomas. I mean, you make a valid point, but like Michael said, like how can you argue it? I mean, you got in the tournament, you chose to get in the tournament, you knew it was by length. So, yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things. You catch a fish, I mean, obviously you're going to be aware if you catch a short, fat fish, or if you catch a long, skinny fish. I mean, you're going to be like, if you catch a long, skinny fish, you're going to be like, heck yeah, I got lucky. This fish happened to be long and skinny. Or you're going to be like, man, This fish, if this tournament was by weight, I would have probably won, but since it's by length, not so much. Means if the tournament's set up like that, they have to go by rules, of course. Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to call Wes. Wes Rose.
I'm trying to get up, buddy.
All right, I'm on my phone. I'm not on my computer, so
Okay.
I don't know that I've ever brought a guest on my phone before. So, yeah, try to get on and let's see what happens.
All right, buddy.
All right, buddy. Bye. You know what? It's funny. What made me want to go live tonight was I was out here rigging up, and I was thinking to myself of some times my friends have caught catfish as a bycatch. My bass fishing friends, my striper fishing friends. The bass guys, they'll catch like an 8-pound flathead on an Alabama rig, and oh man, they'll be texting you, calling you, caught a huge catfish, caught this big catfish. Where do you see it? And it'll be like an 8-pound flathead. It's cool catch, especially on an Alabama rig. That's awesome. But they're expecting you to be so excited because it's a catfish. Or like one time I went with a friend that was just getting into the striper fishing scene real hard. And we went to Tennessee, and we went to a spot that at that time of year was not real likely to catch big catfish. So we ended up catching like these little 2-3 pound blues, and like you could tell he was expecting me to be like super stoked. He was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, check it out, man, it's a blue, yeah. Dude, it's a 5-pound eater. I mean, like, it might as well be a different species to me. I mean, I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything, but I'm after big catfish. I'm not a guide. I'm not a meat fisherman. I'm not out here trying to put people on numbers. Hang on, there's Wes. There he is.
I hear drama.
Can you hear me?
What's going on? Yeah, can you hear
me? I
me?
cannot hear you. Hang on. Edit mic settings. Your mic settings look good. Oh, I got my mic plugged in, so yeah, I can't hear you. Hang on. I'm gonna unplug. Can you hear me now?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Wes?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Well, let's see. How about now?
All right. Well, I'm just not going to be able to hear you, I guess. How hot was it today? It's not really going to work if I can't hear you.
All right. Well, I'll just watch on my phone.
He's alive. How hot was it today? Michael, it was about as hot as Catfish Day thought his cougar was, brother. And that's pretty damn hot. Wes, make sure we get an invite to that cookout. We can hear you fine. Yeah, I think that it was me. I don't think it was Wes. I think it was me. I probably should go in the house, get on the computer so we can hear him. Man, we got 15 people in here. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Oh, there he is.
Can you,
Hey,
can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
When I can hear you. How about now?
Good. I can hear you fine.
Okay, I thought I'd try to reconnect one time. So what's going on, drama in the catfish world?
What's going on? Yeah, talking a little catfishing. But now that we got you on here, I guess catfishing is going to take a back seat.
No, I don't have to do that. Let's talk about catfishing. What's going on?
Well, I was talking about how you guys, when you catch a striper fisherman, bass fisherman, when y'all catch a catfish, y'all like to text us pictures of it and tell us about it. And y'all are thinking that we should be super duper excited because it's a catfish. But eater size catfish and like big catfish might as well be a different species. And I was just going to talk about how we're just as pissed as you guys are when we catch a small catfish. You ain't got nothing to say?
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm still listening. No, there again,
I mean, I can keep talking.
I just go when I go fishing. Okay, for me personally, when I fish, I like to catch. It ain't necessarily big fish. I like to hear a drag scream. I think it's all about the bite. For me, that's probably my most exciting part of. That's why I always like cut baiting. You're sitting there, you're still, especially your still is quiet, and all of a sudden you look back and one takes off and it's leaving. And a clicker's going 100. That's why I always left the clicker. It used to irritate Scott Perry not Scott, Todd Asher, because even fighting a fish, I'd leave the clicker on because I want people to be able to hear, hey, if that fish makes a run, they can hear it. That's why I just like to catch screamers, just like those little mahi we were catching yesterday. Those little 10-pound dolphin would drown a 30-pound striper.
Oh my God, dude, they're so powerful. They're so powerful.
You have to experience it, but
man, I made a mistake of I thought I wanted to catch a dolphin on light tackle one time, and I took a 2,500 size spinning reel with 30-pound braid on it on a bass rod, and I caught. I mean, this was probably. I mean, it was a bull, but it was probably 30 pounds. It was a good one. And Wes, dude, I fought that fish for what seemed like 30 minutes. And when I finally got that fish in, I was nauseated. I felt like I had to throw up. I was done. That was it. No more fish for me. I caught one fish that day. And that was one of those days where we had a good day. Me and my cousin Shane and my friend Jared, we caught 10 or so mahi, some black bass. We had a pretty good day. But I only caught one fish because I decided to bring light tackle and thought I wanted to catch one on light tackle. And it done me in. That one fish did me in.
Well, I tell you, for people, and a lot of people really don't care about saltwater. I understand that. And there's a lot of people that like saltwater fish. But if you've never done it, at least try it one time because these fish are 10 times as powerful than anything in freshwater, including a striper. They're just, like those mahi we were catching yesterday. I'm talking about after, we fought some 30-pound mahi that were 150 yards behind the boat, and after they gave us everything they had in the water. You hit them with a gaff, you put them in a boat, and these son of a bitches are still ape shit crazy. They look like a bloodbath on the boat. I mean,
yeah, they're like,
yeah. I mean, that flopping on the deck sounds like a helicopter coming across.
Yeah, it does.
It's just unbelievable, and it's just a fight. Like I said, if you've never experienced that, go try some salt water.
You know, when Peter was telling me y'all's rigs, he was saying that he was rigging up the ballyhoo rigs. Let's see, what was he using? He was using
250-pound fluorocarbon leader.
Yeah, but he only rigged up a couple with that. The rest was single strand wire.
Yeah,
and I thought when he was saying that, I told myself they're gonna get hooked up on that mono or that fluorocarbon. They're gonna get hooked up on that.
Yeah,
and they're gonna lose a fish. I knew that. I could. It's like I foresaw it. And then you called me on y'all's way home.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Hold on, JR. 50-pound leader. I thought he said 50-pound leader. Peter, we're trolling for Wahoo, and you got 50-pound fluorocarbon. I told you.
Yeah,
fluorocarbon.
50-pound is extremely light for Wahoo. Most people would consider a 100-pound mono leader light for Wahoo. But yeah, 50-pound is very
in Peter's defense, I think that particular rod may have been set up for dolphin. May have been, I'm not sure, because he had so much going on, and that's the one that Wahoo decided to hit.
Hey, that's the way it goes, though. I mean, that's a risk you take whenever you use light tackle. I mean, sometimes that's the difference in getting hooked up. Hey, at least you got hooked up, you know? I mean, yeah, he broke you off, but
well, I tell you, they had a time limit. And Keith, Peter was talking back and forth to Keith, and he said, you want to give it 30 more? No, Peter said, let's just give it 30 more minutes. Now it's around 12:30 or so. And, Keith said, all right, so we're going along. A few minutes later, I heard a knock, and I was sitting up in the seat behind the helm. So I looked back and I looked up at the rods. And when about the time I looked up, it just said click, click. I didn't think nothing about it. And I leaned back forward. About the time I leaned forward, that son of a bitch left there. And when I say left there, yeah, I mean left there. And everybody on the boat hollered, Wahoo. Well, my old ass, I was the first one on that son of a bitch. Listen, I reached up there, and when I got the rod out of the holder, I pulled the liner, in your the rod holder's on the top.
That's why guys use slick butts offshore, man. Yeah. You got to get them out of the rod holder. If it weren't a slick butt, if it was like an EVA foam handle,
yeah.
Oh my God, dude, you would have played out. You would have played hell getting it out of the rod holder.
Well, anyway, I think Peter, if I'm not mistaken, what reel was that? I know it was at Niagara. I think it was a 60 wide, 50 or
50 wide. Were you guys really using 50 wide Tiagras? Really?
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God!
Listen, he almost dumped that reel. It was almost down to the braid.
Oh yeah,
I'm talking about 250.
They'll take a couple hundred yards in no time, man.
Yeah, maybe 300.
By the time you get to chasing them, yeah, they done dumped at least a couple hundred yards on you.
That was crazy, man. I mean, that was insane.
And the thing is though, is that is that is highly common to lose a Wahoo. Like people get hooked up on all the time. Getting hooked up on a Wahoo and actually gaffing it and getting it over the rail is two different things. I mean, it's there's so many things can go wrong when you're Wahoo fishing. I mean, you're going like a lot of guys that are trolling the artificials. They're going 15 miles an hour, pulling a plug that you might have on you might have an inline sinker, cigar weight. It could be up to like 40 ounces. Yeah. And you're trolling this bad boy 15 miles an hour. You got like this 20-foot leader of 400-pound mono. And you can only reel in so much. When you get it up to the swivel, you need a leader man. You got to grab that leader and you got to actually leader this 5-foot Wahoo, fastest fish in the ocean, up to the boat. And you got to have a good gaff man. I mean, you got so many different, so many scenarios that could just go wrong on you.
Well, anyway, I got to experience it there for a little while. I think they, by the time they got all the rods in, I think Keith or Peter, one of them slowed the boat down a little bit, just a little bit. I guess I never could gain nothing on that fish. I try to wind, I try to pull the rod back a little bit and then wind as I come down. I only think that fish knew he was hooked up. And boom, and he just, he cut the leader with his
Oh
tail.
my goodness! There's like a kitten. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Sounds like a kitten.
Damn, JR, you got wildcats at your house?
Hang on, let me go see if I can grab this kitten. It sounds close. It's like a little baby kitten. Hang on.
Yeah, I can tell. Oh, he is. He's about like Patrick Miller guy.
No, he ain't talking nothing. He's saying something over and over and over and over and over. That's Patrick.
Oh wow!
Oh, look what oh, bless it.
Check this out, man. This little kitten just showed up.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Isn't that cool?
Congratulations. Look like you got a new friend.
My goodness. He's adorable.
Well, I'm going to tell you, before anybody on here, if y'all start making rude comments or if anybody says they need to do something that they shouldn't to that cat, you get the hell off of this page. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all dumbasses that now.
Look at that. That's adorable.
But anyway, listen, that was, I've had so many amazing experiences with fishing, but that thing with that wahoo yesterday was, dude, hey, those mahi, watching them get on their side and pull, and you're giving a 30-pound fish is giving you all he's got, dude, and it's just unbelievable. Salt water, and I'm 55 years old, and that's another reason, I told Lori, I want to try to get into this a little bit now, because I don't know how much longer, my health might fail next year. I might get to do it 3 or 4 years or 5 years. But it's another one of the things I want to be able to say I did it, and just.
Angel. Here. Hang on. I'm going to give this kid to my wife right quick. Here, show this to Mackenzie. I heard it go on.
What's up, Mickey Hill? Last time I seen you, you was creeping on me at Chill Howie.
All righty.
Good.
Huh?
But yeah, listen, I'll tell you something about Peter. Peter reminded me of Chuck Manny. And the way I say that, how we were talking about like being meticulous about everything. He never stopped from the time we got out to where we was going to fish. He was watching this rod, that rod, putting rods out, and he had some help. Keyson, little 12-year-old kid, is amazing on the boat. You'd have to watch him. Nobody had to tell him nothing. He knew everything to do, when to do it. And you don't see a lot of kids his age. He could be a first mate jam up.
He'd probably been offshore fishing before.
Well, listen, I actually talked to Keith tonight. He messaged me about the show.
Uh-huh.
And if he don't have to work Tuesday, he's going to let me know Sunday. He said he would be more than happy to be our guest this coming Tuesday and talk a little bit about what he does.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. We'll have to definitely get together some good questions for him.
Yeah. And I told him he's going to send you a fish request, and maybe you can get some, get some pictures from him. And, he can tell you about what he does. I think he's a weight trainer. He's a school teacher. He works part-time at a restaurant where his wife works. So he does all this stuff. And then, he guides a little bit on the side. Super great guy. That's the one, him and his wife, they invited me and Richie to stay at their house. Cooked for us last night. We got off the boat. We got back to his house. His wife, they had cooked his hamburgers, while we were cleaning the boat up. And
it's awesome.
And Peter cleaned all the fish. So, yeah, it was just a great trip. I had a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was talking to Lacey today, and we were talking about how you don't meet a stranger.
Damn.
How people tend to kind of take to you. I thought that was cool. But yeah, that'd be cool to have him on the show, man. I would love to pick his brain. I mean, because you guys, he put you on a pretty epic adventure for sure.
Well, him and Peter both.
Peter reminds me. He's like, as far as like our circle, Peter's like Elon Musk. That's the way I look at Peter. He's like, he's this very smart, like semi. He's very scientific.
Well, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and y'all can say I'm kissing ass because JR's my buddy, but in my opinion, you would be our Elon Musk as far as knowledge. You know, and I tell people all the time, a lot of people that don't really know you on a personal level like I do, a lot of people do. You're like fucking super smart. You know, I mean, I thought I knew a lot about fishing, but I mean, you know shit that I don't have a clue, and especially on saltwater. You know, but I want to learn it. You know, and for me, it was a big learning experience. Pete showed me how to rig ballyhoo. You know, he showed me what wires to run, speeds to troll, what lure. Now, the only thing Peter will not let you do, and I still have to figure this out. And Peter, if you're on here, I'm going to tell you the only thing I disagree with you on, and I could be wrong. And I know it's important, but I don't understand what is so fucking technical about gaffing a fish. Because he would not let nobody use that gaff. You know, hell.
Well, you know, you don't want to destroy the meat.
He was hell. What are you going to do? Why does it matter where? How could you destroy anything?
It's kind of like deer hunting. You don't want to. You want to get the shot placed properly. You want good shot.
Where could you hit a mahi with a gaff that you would mess that meat up?
You know, the fillet. You know, like anywhere in the side, but down below the gill plate, all the way to the tail. You know, that's prime meat. You don't want to hit it there. You want to hit it. You want to hit it up around like the gill plate area and the head, like preferably the head.
Yeah, but hell, how's it going to mess a fillet up? You fillet it, fillet's got a little hole in it that you ain't even going to mess hell, man, really?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. And you can lose a fish. You can lose a fish trying to gaff it.
Peter said he was trying to save me some embarrassment on video. Hell, Richie was sicker than shit with nobody doing video.
I mean, it's kind of like netting a fish. It's about the equivalent to netting a fish. Well, it's a little more technical, but you know, you want an experienced net man, and when you're fish, especially trophy fish, and you know when you're offshore fishing, you want an experienced gaff man. So, but the only way you're going to get experience is to try it and do it. You know,
I gaffed one of them little peanuts. He let me do it on a peanut, but I told him, I said, Pete, don't worry about it. Hell, I'll learn how to do it on my own boat with my own fish. So.
Yeah.
Peter's a great guy, dude. I mean,
he is.
Him on his boat. You know, he showed me how to rig ballyhoo.
Well, what you need to tell him is that you don't give a crap how to rig ballyhoo. You can buy pre-rigged ballyhoo. You want him to give you some numbers when it comes time for you to fish. That's what.
I got numbers. Listen, why do you think I had my phone out the whole time? My screen showing everything on that fucking depth finder. Shit.
Yeah, I took a friend of mine fishing one time on Lake Norman, and I got like half a dozen dock lights out there. Well, it took me like 15 years to find these dock lights. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I got some that I share. You know, I call them my community lights. But my friends, they're. When I give my friends, I'll test. When I make a friend and I take them to Lake Norman and I show them a dock light, I'll show them my biggest community light I have. And I'll tell them, hey, I don't mind if you share this with a very close friend of yours, but I really don't want this getting out, you know. So I see how they act on that. Just me giving them the information of that one dock light. Yeah. I see how they act. And if they're extremely protective over it, like if they're calling me saying, hey, there was a boat on that light the other night. Did you know who that was? I mean, like if they're like very protective, and then I'll give them more dock lights. I'll be more liberal with my information. But if when I give them this information and they're taking their buddies that I've never met, they're taking their brother-in-law, they're taking this Joe Schmo, they're taking it. Then I won't give them another light. I won't give them another dock light. Dock lights are extremely important.
Well, you know, me and Kelly was talking the other night, you know, and he's got another guy down there named Jack that helps him out of Merle's Inlet. He said, Wes, Jack has gave me about every one of his fishing spots that he has been fishing for the last 40 years, his numbers. Even he's got numbers wrote down in a book that works off some kind of other machine on a boat. You don't do it on like our GPS chart plotters we got now. I forgot what he called that thing. You have to type the number. But anyway, he said, Wes, he said, he told me to use them anytime I want. But he said, anytime that I want to fish something that Jack told me, he said, I call him and say, Jack, I'm going out tomorrow. You mind if I fish such and such number, such and such number? He said, the reason I do that is because I don't want to be out there fishing on his numbers and he's bringing a party out there or somebody else in a boat sitting there.
Yeah.
It's a courtesy, it's a respect thing.
Respect. Yeah. One of my best friends, Ryan Spivey, he fishes a lot of the same dock lights that I fish on Lake Norman. And a lot of times, especially if I'm going to get in a tournament or something somewhere else, I'll actually go to Norman and catch my bait on those dock lights. And I always text him just out of courtesy. I mean, yes, I'm the one that kind of showed him the first dock light or two, but he has since found a lot more that he has shared with me.
Yeah.
But I'll let him know when I'm going. I'm like, hey, bud, Friday night, I'm probably going to be out there trying to catch some bait. Are you planning on going? And if he is planning on going, most times he will tell me, yes, I'm planning on going. I tell you what, I'll catch the bait for you and we can meet somewhere and I won't even have to worry about going and catching bait. Like he will actually catch the bait for me because he's already going. He's already going to be out there fishing those dock lights with rod and reel. So yeah, it works out great for when you're a good person and you actually respect the information that people give you. Exactly. It actually ends up paying itself forward and paying for itself in the long run. That's what I'm trying to say.
And Peter, by the way, I was just kidding about taking screenshots of the numbers. You ain't never got to worry about me doing no shit like that or taking my boat out no 65 miles. But we had a great time, and it was just amazing. My arms are still sore. We got on those black bass, and I actually got an AR, and I hooked up that thing, and I was hoping I had a grouper.
Now, explain to our listeners what an AR is.
Oh, American redfish.
American red snapper, right?
Yeah. And and I got on that fish, and we were trying. We were talking shit back and forth. We were giving what's his name a hard time. He was on the other side of the boat. And I said, listen, I told Richie, I said, give me that rod right now. So let me show you how to break her down back. I said, you wait till one of them groupers, one of them gags hits this rod right here, and I'll show you what's happening. And about 10 minutes later, I hooked up with one, and Peter looked over and he said, show me something now.
So, anyway, what did you hook up on?
That grouper? No, that red.
The red
was a grouper.
Yeah, that was a good size red.
Oh, yeah, he was probably, 15, 18 pounds maybe?
It was a good, bro.
All I wanted for a downfish. I mean, he was drag.
Listen, you guys had the most epic trip in the world, but God, I wish I could have been there to take for the photography and the video because y'all's pictures, gosh, man, they could have been so much better if they would have been. God, I wish I could have been there to take a video. That would have been, how epic that video would have been if you would have had someone there with like a mirrorless camera with like an ND filter on it, like the shots and the colors and oh my God, could have been.
Well, I'm gonna send you some pictures and some video, and I know you can make it work. But like I said, Peter, actually, Keith messaged me tonight on Messenger and told me how he enjoyed it having us there. And he was asking about the show. That's when I talked to him about that. And like I said, it's just, great people with that kind of knowledge, just willing to share it. And they didn't ask us for nothing. It wasn't no guided trip. He was going. I guess, I don't know how him and Keith come about inviting me. But they invited me. I invited Richie. So Richie got to do something he's never experienced in his whole life. I got to do something. Like I said, I've been offshore multiple times. But I've never been offshore and experienced a fishing trip like that. I mean, I was so tired of catching fish,
Well, probably your offshore trips was probably on charters.
No, I've got a bunch of friends that took me offshore.
Oh, okay.
I'm offshore with Kelly probably 5 or 6 times just out of Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
I used to go offshore twice a month when I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida, because you didn't have to go that far. You'd only go out about 15, 18 miles and you're
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah, Florida's weird. It's a different, like especially the Gulf. You know, you're going out and it stays shallow longer going out
And
of
then
the
it
Gulf.
just drops off. You got a hell of a shelf out there. But,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, I'm getting to experience something now. You know, and just like, you know, when we go to the beach, I can take my grandkids out there, especially if it's real nice. Take them out there up, you put them on a reef 8 or 10 miles offshore, and let them catch fish till their arms give out.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, there's normally some porgies, some undersized black bass. Like there's normally like all the fish that you want to catch that you could ever want to catch out there.
yeah. See what Peter said?
Yeah, he said he's never had a day like yesterday when it comes to numbers and size. Maybe Wes is a good luck charm. I think he is a good luck charm. You know, Wes took the trophy freshwater striper fishing industry by storm the last few years. You know, nobody was. I mean, this dude was spanking them, bro. I mean, the sheer numbers of fish that Wes has caught freshwater trophy striper wise is unmatched by any other. I mean, other than maybe a guide. I don't know of anyone that has caught the number of trophy striper freshwater landlocked striper trophy stripers that Wes Rose has caught in the last 3 years. Well, and you know, guys want to talk they talk a lot of junk, but I mean, you know, there's talking junk, and then there's, you know, actual walking the walk and talking, you know, showing pictures of big fish, and Wes has done that. That's for sure.
Well, listen, I appreciate that, but you know, like I said, I've had a lot of help. You know, people aggravate you. You got a guy, Todd Asher, this, blah blah blah, this that. You know, everybody's got to have help, but
right.
You know, the old saying is time on the water. You know, Todd Asher, what's that old saying? If you take a man fishing, or you take a man, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you show him how to fish, he'll eat the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You know, but there again, you got to be motivated. You got to have time on the water. You know, you got to.
There's also that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask my wife. I've got a lot of time on the water, a lot of money invested in it. You know, and I went to Tennessee many times and didn't catch no fish. You know, and it is what it is. Damn, JR, is that crickets out here?
Yeah, I'm outside. I'm out here in the driveway beside my boat.
I thought there was something coming through my damn speakers here at the house.
No, it's crickets. I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to hear them as well had I not unplugged my shotgun mic, but I had to unplug my shotgun mic in order to hear you. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and just like Peter said, you know, it's a lot of work. You know, Peter and Keith, we were, you know, right before we were going to bed, they were both over there at a laptop computer looking at the current breaks, looking at the temperature breaks, trying to figure out where they want to fish and what we needed to do. You know,
I heard you guys mention purple water. What was that about?
It's just a color of water where it's kind of like the perfect storm when storms come together. When you get that color of water, the current's right, the temperature's right, the temp break's right, everything's just set up to catch good fish. I mean, I think when we started on those fish yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we got over 1.5 miles or 2 miles while we were catching them dolphins. You know, we were just making circles back and forth. And from my understanding, from what we were hearing on the radio, we did better than anybody out there yesterday. Because everybody, we heard a lot of, you know, swelch and stuff talking on the radio. Hey, have you done such and such? No, we've got 2 on the boat. We've been fishing 6 hours. Oh, we didn't get out here till 10 o'clock. We've been trolling for 5 hours, no bites. You know, and this is people within at least a 15-mile range of us, because I think that's about how far your VHF gets out on 25 watts. It's what, 15, 18 miles, and there again, depending on the curvature of the earth and how high your tower is and all that good shit. But I'm going to say about 15 miles. So every boat that we had, that we heard talking, was doing nothing like we were. So, you know, it's like yesterday was our day. You know, so the fishing gods was with us.
So you guys were away from the fleet, you know, and people don't, you know, I never really fished with the fleet when I offshore fished. I mean, and it's hard to fathom there being a fleet, you know, kind of like in the Chesapeake Bay in the winter when you're targeting the trophy stripers, the ocean stripers. You have a fleet of fishermen, a fleet of boats that are actually targeting these fish. You guys are in contact with one another. You're conveying information. You're saying, "Hey, caught this one south of the buoy." You're in touch with each other.
Yeah.
You're kind of in the same. You're catching. Your guys that are catching fish are normally catching it in the same vicinity of one another. But when you're offshore, you're 50 plus miles offshore, so you don't really think and. You're not really thinking about being like there being actually other boats out there because it's so vast. You're out this, it can be so desolate out there. So you don't really look at it in terms of there being a fleet out there.
Well, even Richie said, when we first got out there fishing, there was 2 boats, within eyesight. And Richie, he said, "Damn, that's crazy." He said, "You mean other people come out this far?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's crazy seeing a boat out there that far." And about an hour later, 2 hours later, I looked around. I said, "Richie, look over and tell me how many boats you see." And he was kicked. Look, he said, "Damn, where'd all them come from?" We counted at one time, I think, 17 boats that we could see at eyesight. And like I said, I don't know how many of those. And then there again, you got a lot of people out there fishing that's not going to say nothing. They'll listen to a radio, but they'll never speak. Right. They could have caught more than we did. Maybe. And,
did you think that those offshore guys are they a little more tight-lipped than the Bay guys?
Honestly, I think if you're in a way they are, I guess, but like say for instance, Keith, I guess, Keith, I heard him talk on the radio, I think only twice yesterday, but he actually called these people. I'm sure it's people he knew. And I can't remember if he actually shared some information. I heard him talking, but I heard him telling one guy, what we caught, how we did. But he wasn't on the radio every 10 minutes. And we're hooked up over here. We hooked up over here, and this is our numbers. But no, I don't think the saltwater.
It was just right here in the yard. Yeah, I heard it meowing, and I got up and I walked through the yard and I saw this cat run across the yard, that black cat. And then the kitten was just there. It was only one. There was no more kitten. Okay, Wes, sorry about that.
Yeah, but I think they're just not going. I don't think they're out there just getting on the radio. It would be stupid to say, "Hey, we've caught 19 mahi right here, and we're in this area. Here's some numbers." Right. But I don't think they're as bad as the striper fishing. The way it's like, if you put on hell, a lot of striper guys. Where'd you catch your fish? Hey, I caught these fish on Boone Lake. Then everybody's all, "Why you tell them you caught them on Boone?" Well, fuck.
Right.
Boone, 33,000 acres. You got to find them. I mean, some people are just that anal about it.
Right.
I said, I blew up Chilhowie. I still need my ass kicked for that, but that's over. It's been over. People, y'all go up there fishing all you want to now. You're not going to catch fish like that. But I mean, but out there, like I said, I don't think the saltwater guys are as anal for a simple fact that you've got hundreds of thousands of acres of water out there. You come back in and say, "How'd you do today?" "Well, hey, I was fishing out by such and such," unless you're just giving them a number, they say, "Hey, I was out at Frying Pan Tower today." Well, fuck, was you 20 feet from the tower or was you 50 miles from the tower? That may be their closest point to tell you where they were. And hey, I caught such and such.
Yeah.
So but I don't think they're not as bad as it was, especially when I started striper fishing, about people with their spots and, blurring out the backgrounds. But I kind of understand where that came from too, because when I started catching decent fish and big fish, every time I put a big fish on Facebook, I started getting freeze requests. People I've never seen before, never heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Peter, and I think Peter called me. When Peter called me today, he said, "Wes," he said, "I got like 15 freeze requests. I woke up this morning and had 15 freeze requests on Facebook." Because, and that's just the way people react. But the sharing thing up there, the saltwater guys aren't as anal about it. But I'm just saying that from the experience of what I've did so far. I haven't got as deep into it yet as I was striper fishing. So, I haven't met no assholes yet. saltwater fishing, but I'm sure there's a few out there.
Oh yeah, they're out there.
So
I've ran into a couple. Well, we'll get into some more depth this coming week on the show, and I just wanted to go live for a little bit. I was feeling a little frisky tonight, so I'll see you soon, Wes. And hey, thanks for stopping by, guys, and we'll see you Tuesday night on Real Fisherman.
well, hey, JR, tomorrow, I'm gonna be very busy tomorrow. I've got 5 service calls tomorrow, and I've got 2 estimates to go give. So my days took up. If you get a chance, just send me something via and Gmail on the
so you can give me the footage. Okay, Google Drive.
Google Drive, and then that way I can try to return it. And I'll just send you all the video I've got. Now there's 1 or 2 videos I forgot to turn it flat. I held
That's
it up.
fine. I work with it.
And then you can maybe if you got time, you could put a little something together before the show Tuesday if you'd like.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good.
Good night, everybody.
All right, love you guys. Have a good night. See you.
Bye bye.